Some people's lives are changed by tragedy, joy, or career change. My life was changed by a 3-minute quiz. In fact, I felt a lot like these people look. It didn't just change my world, it turned it upside down. It'll never be the same, and hopefully neither will you after you take it. Can a quiz really have that much impact? Let's find out. I prepared 2 questions so that you can give it a shot. How many of the world's 1-year-old children today have been vaccinated against some disease? A, 80%, B, 50%, and C, 20%. What do you think? Please raise your hands for A, B, and C. Well, I can see that most of you chose C and some B. However, the answer is A, 80%, which means that 80% of world's 1-year-old children have been vaccinated against some disease. 80%. If you chose B or C, you're not alone. Among 12,000 respondents, only 22% got the question right. But even randomly guessing 1 out of 3 questions would give you 33%. Now, what's going on? Let's talk about it. Take a look at this graph provided by UNESCO and the World Health Organization. The x-axis is the year, and the y-axis is the percentage of immunization to measles of 1-year-old children. Well, it was never around 20% since 1985, and choice B is correct too, but that was only true around 1987. But it's 2019 now. The advancement in medical technology, the advent of the internet, better food supplies, and many other factors like this contributed to 85% of today's children have been vaccinated against one dose of vaccine toward measles by 2017. And the solution was time. As time passed by, development ensued, thus making the world a better place to live in. The only thing that didn't keep pace with the development was our own awareness of those changes and improvements. Let's try another example. In the last 20 years, the proportion of the world population living in extreme poverty has A, almost doubled, B, remained more or less the same, and C, almost halved. Extreme poverty is a situation deprived of basic human needs. Please raise your hands for A, B, and C. Okay, so some of you are learning the trend, and yes, the correct answer is C, almost halved. But I can still see that some of you chose B and even A. If you take a look at this graph provided by the Gapminder Foundation, you'll see that in spite of what you believe is happening, extreme poverty rates are going down. While people living in extreme poverty in 1800 was 85%, in 2017, it's only 9%. Extreme poverty rates has fallen to a single digit. The quiz I took had questions similar to these. The quiz consisted of 12 questions about the world and global issues. It took me about 3 minutes to complete, and the answers that I chose seemed clear to me. So I pressed view score, expecting to get a perfect 12 or at least over 10. Yet, my answer was a 3. 3 out of 12 questions, 25%, F, or an F minus minus minus. I was shocked and humiliated, but the thing that surprised me even more was how confident I was about my answers, my wrong answers. I didn't even hesitate, and that's how confident I was that I was right, and yet how wrong I was. That's what made me reflect so deeply about my misconceptions. I felt how most of you are feeling. How do I know this little about the world? I thought of myself as an active participant of global society, but this quiz had made me think twice about what I really know. I was embarrassed. I tried to justify my score and prove that I was right, even when the test was telling me I was wrong. And we don't make change if we believe we're right. We change when we admit and realize that we're wrong. When I was finally able to admit that I was wrong, that's when changes in my life began. After tons and tons of research and riding the shockwaves of awareness of what I don't know, here I am to present you with a challenge. What do you really know about the things you're confident you know? I want to give you some ways to update your knowledge. I want to help you understand how to move from what you think you know to what the facts are. By the end of this TED Talk, I hope you will find yourself more enlightened or more experiencing a more updated mindset. To give you some spoilers, the world is a lot better than you think it is. As you've seen in the previous graphs, the world is moving at a very fast pace thanks to the help of technology and development as a whole. And that has created the need for us to catch up to those developments. Just as we do with our computers, we need to update our personal operating systems. Persisting with an outdated mindset may affect us more than we realize. If I believe I have all the courses I need to graduate but don't check, I may not be able to graduate on time. Does it hurt to check? Not at all. If I decide to cook a meal for my friends, I'll check to make sure that I have all the ingredients I need before I go shopping. Doesn't it make sense to check for facts for larger issues? Checking to make sure that we have all the facts about a thing saves us time and complications. For instance, if we don't believe that our food supply is in danger, will we act to ensure that it is not disrupted? If we believe that global warming is an issue we all should care about, wouldn't it be helpful to understand how and why it impacts us and what we can do about it? If we don't understand what the facts are, we are blinding ourselves from the truth. Something I recently learned about small errors is interesting. For every single degree a pilot flies off track, he's missing his target landing spot by 92 feet for every mile he flies. That amounts to 1 mile per every 60 miles flown. If you're a pilot and you decide to have a trip around the Earth and you started in the equator, just being of 1 degree off target would give you almost 500 miles off target. If that small an error can impact an airplane, how much more can a distorted information impact us? Being wrong about something, even if we think we're right, will ultimately distort the information we rely on, and that is very dangerous because a prerequisite for development is not only knowing the past, but also, and more importantly, knowing the present. If a mayor, it's like a mayor doesn't know anything about their city. If the mayor doesn't have accurate, correct, fact-based information, how would it be possible to make reforms to make the district a better place? An ideal mayor would know specifically about what areas need improvements, what people are asking for, and etc. And that is what we're lacking right now. A correct, fact-based information. Mindset is where everything begins. So first things first, consider whether or not you have an outdated mindset. That simple acknowledgement makes you more flexible and accepting of new ideas. It's like turning your brain from a rock to a clay. People feel comfortable about their knowledge. They feel powerful, assured, even arrogant about what they know. They go into situations, whether it's work, school, relationship, or life, knowing, and worse, acting on their false beliefs. They get offended if someone's trying to question their knowledge. Feeling offended, being resistant to learning what is now true is what keeps the world locked into battles with each other. People are so busy defending what is now true that they don't have the time or desire to explore what is really true. Too many of us often confuse assumptions, social media, popular opinion, and even the news about something with the facts about it. For instance, when I ask people around the world where they get most of their information about the world from, most of them say the news. Other sources include social media, friends, people who don't know much, but the primary source of our ignorance is the news. The global, national, and local news is where people's perception of the world is shaped. However, news, by definition, is a newly received or noteworthy information, especially about recent or important events. Bruce Schneier, an American cartographer, once said that real news is something that hardly ever happens. And that is true. Let's look at what is news. I visited several renowned news sites the other day and categorized the headings as red for negative news, yellow for neutral news, and blue for positive news. This is BBC, this is CNN, and this is ABC. Obviously, most of them are negative issues. And that is the problem. The news makes the public generalize the world as being full of negative issues. We see a lot of negative news, so we think that the world is full of negative issues. So should the news mostly include positive issues? No, that would be too much. Imagine seeing on the news like today, there was no tsunami in Indonesia. It was a peaceful day. Or every flight from Tokyo to London landed safely today. So we should not only think about what's on the news, but also what's not on the news. Don't only look at the tip of the iceberg, look as a whole and under. Also, we need more websites where people can see the facts more easily. Numbers and statistics cause most people headaches, and one organization that makes these numbers and statistics more convenient and easy for people to look is Gapminder, a nonprofit venture registered in Stockholm. Gapminder promotes the understanding of the world with a fact-based view with the greater use and understanding of statistics. This foundation actually created the questions that I asked you at the beginning of my talk. And this creation also made various tools to help people achieve this goal by creating easy-to-look maps, such as this one. In this map, we have x-axis as being the income and y-axis as being the lifespan. Each bubble represents each country, each color representing each continent, and the size of the bubble being proportional to the population. And when you look at this, you can make insightful observations. You can see that the world is not separated into black or white, or poor or rich, but it's like life, rather like a continuum. Everyone can look and understand this graph, right? And this is what we need, more of this. With slides like this, I would have been less likely to experience my F minus experience. But I did experience it, so I asked a few of my friends to take it too. And their scores were on par with mine. And that was when I said to myself, we need a change. As a high school student, I don't have any professional or specific knowledge about the field of data science, statistics, or data visualization and similar skills, but I made a club within our school community called Gapminder Club Korea. With the help of Gapminder sponsorship, we carried out the mission of the Gapminder Foundation locally. Our mission, like theirs, is to not only make more people aware of the world, but also to encourage them to examine their worldviews and change it for the better. We want to encourage people to look and change their incomplete or skewed mindset for the sake of humanity's bright future. I learned that most students in our community were ignorant of the world, just like me. So we, as a club, came up with ways to make more people aware of the world. Let's take a look at a video summarizing what we have done for the past few months.
During the past few months, we have accomplished many tasks. We first had teaching sessions with the elementary and middle school students where we taught them basic information about the world through engaging activities. We also printed out a few copies of the maps I showed you earlier and put it around the school for more people to see. With Gapminder's support, we translated a global fact test in Korean and added Korean subtitles to their videos so we could widen the range of audience. With the test, we collected 120 responses and created an online database for our school that could be used for analysis. We are currently posting one fact per day related to the Sustainable Development Goals that the United Nations made for a better world. Lastly, we have donated a few copies of the book Factfulness, a book Gapminder published to school libraries. With these activities we've done, we hope to make more progress in making a better world.
We are Gapminders!
After we carried out this project, the results were surprising. Before we carried out any of the projects, we asked some students to fill out the form. They were solving the same quiz that I was solving. The initial mean score was at around 40%, but after 6 months, the score rose up to 70%. This shows that no matter how firm and deep one's perception about the world may be, a simple exposure about the world can help people achieve a more fact-based view of the world. You now have the power to make a powerful choice. You can change your mindset, examine your beliefs, and see the world for what it truly is and change it for the better. Or you can stay where you are, believing what you believe, missing out on the brighter, better future for yourself and for around the world. I believe we should strive to make a data-driven, fact-based future a part of our global culture. We are the participants of the future, and if we do not know the facts correctly, our attempts at developments will all be futile and useless. Therefore, it is very important that efforts continue in order to reach a development-oriented course of humanity. My message is simple. Open yourself to the possibility that things may not be as they seem. Your challenge is to find out for yourself how powerful and life-changing something as simple as a mindset can be. For those of you who would like to take the challenge, I made a website. It's called Test Your Knowledge. Its address is sites.google.com/view/testyourknowledge. When you go there, you'll see 4 categories under the big theme of development: health, education, environment, and community. Choose one that interests you, and you'll see a quiz with a description of its importance and related goals. There are 10 multiple choice questions with 3 choices for each one. The test will give you the score right away with a detailed explanation for why you got it wrong and how you got it right. If you get more than 8 or 9 right for each one, I'll probably say you're a master. So if you're up to the challenge, take a quiz and check to see how right or how misinformed you are about development. That way, changes can begin. Thank you very much.